Okay, welcome one and all to this week's Kitchen Sink Radio. I'm the host of this train wreck of the airwaves, Rust, and if you've listened to the show in the past, you know that occasionally I'm going to do a show based on one of the fine hosts of the Cult Radio Snack Bar. I might as well end that tradition right now because, well, when you've climbed to the highest peak, everything else looks like an anthill, right? So who is this? I see, he's giving himself who it is. Okay, so who is this person I'm talking about?
Well, I'd just like to say that I'm proud to be talking to Rustbucket. I mean, you've got an incredible show. I was told by one of our former DJs was last show today that your name was Pussbucket.
Yeah, I heard that.
That was wrong.
Yeah, but that intro, that cracks me up, that drop he did for me. But so anyway, this person that you're hearing, this folksy voice that you're hearing right now, you hear it every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time and 6 p.m. Pacific. He talks about the world of pop culture and the people who inhabit it, along with his daughter Tiffany. It's the Lord God King of all that we know in CRSB and CRAGG-related stuff. It is the general manager of Cult Radio, Terry DuFoe. And Terry, thanks for taking out some time for me. I know you're a little bit tired. You just got done with a 4-hour show. I appreciate you getting on with me.
And then on Sunday, I've got an encore performance of Lord of the Dance.
You know what? I'm going to miss that. You know, I don't need to see that at all.
I know.
I don't think a lot of people need to see that.
I know.
Okay, so before we get too deep into this, I would like you to, let's say you're on Twitter, because I know you have a Twitter account.
Well, that's only because I got thrown off of everywhere else. Yeah,
well, that's true, yeah.
They put up with me.
Go ahead.
They put up with me.
Yeah, well, okay, because there's not a lot you can bury yourself in 140 characters. But let's say you're on Twitter right now and you had one tweet to summarize what CRAGG Live is. What would it say?
So I'm supposed to sit here on my fingers and count how many characters. That's not going to happen.
Just get close.
Try to summarize it. It is the world condensed down into 4 hours, which is actually like a regular DJ shift. It's a world of pop culture and retro drive-in movies and classic TV and OTR. Emphasis on the word retro because not everything that was within those fields were necessarily retro, but it's all classic, and it's TV, and it's movies, and it's OTV, and it's old-time radio, and it's things that we all grew up with of what makes pop culture. And hopefully we educate people, because a lot of people that think about drive-in movies, they think that drive-in movies were all horror films. Wrong. They think that classic TV was just Happy Days. There were shows before that. Because, they just think what they see on Nick at Night is pop culture and classic. There was stuff that goes way further than back. And we try to show everybody, what influenced all the stuff that we enjoy now.
Right.
And that was way too many characters and it did not fit.
Well, you can have 2 or 3 tweets. How's that?
Yeah.
You carry it on. Extended to the next tweet.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was pretty good. That summarized it pretty well. Okay. So you're a big pop culture fan and you're a child. Just a few years older than me, but you're a child of the late 60s, early 70s. Okay, what was your shaping influence of pop culture? Can you remember any specific events that kind of sparked your attraction to this kind of medium?
Well, I suppose to start off talking about horror films, and like I said, I don't want to be giving people the impression that's all I watch. I don't think anybody just watches horror films, but as far as horror films, the only horror films to me in the early days were the classic Universal films and the Hammer films. Mm-hmm. Those influenced me there. And as far as old TV, which was before my time, but I would watch stuff like You Bet Your Life. And it's not like I was there when it was live. That was a little bit, I was like way too young then. But growing up, I guess, as far as what I really actually watched was like, Captain Kangaroo, because that was, I wasn't old enough to watch Howdy Doody.
Right.
Through and stuff like that. Of course, I was there when TV was fun, when we had all the magical stuff like Bewitched and My Favorite Martian and Addams Family and the Munsters and I Dream of Jeannie and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, now, I mean, did you guys have a romper room, for example, that kind of thing, or a local bozo, or did you have a like horror host, but like a children's host like that?
Well, we had probably the Bozo. I came from Rockford, Illinois, and right outside within the viewing area of Chicago.
Oh, so you WGM, right?
Right, WGN,
right.
and the Bozo there was really famous. There was different Bozos in every town. Larry Harmon kind of franchised it out, but he was pretty well known. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
People were on the waiting list to get on that show like Howdy Doody forever. I cheated on that show too because I was doing magic when I was a kid, and they had told me that I could come on, and then they wrote me back later and canceled me out because they found out that I had to be a member of AFTRA, which is American Federation of Television and Radio Artists.
And how old were you?
I was a kid. Like, who's going to be a member of AFTRA?
That's a weird thing to expect of you.
So I got turned down by Bozo, and then later on, when we did Cult Radio, we tried to get the latter WGN Bozo to come on Cult Radio, and he refused to come on the show. So I kind of went full circle.
Was that what's his name? Not Alan Ball. Who was the other one?
It's not
Joey
Diora.
Yeah, Laura. Right. Okay.
Ball was the original guy. That's a good Bozo from WGN.
Yeah. Now, see, we had you were in Florida for a while. Do you remember the Bozo in Orlando?
No, but I do remember they started doing Howdy Doody there in Florida.
Oh, okay. Because I was actually on Bozo twice in Orlando. So
really,
I won something both times.
So you cheated at the grand prize game?
No, we didn't do the grand prize game. They had a game where you were at a table and you had 10 objects, and the 3 kids turned away and they pulled off one of the objects. Then you turned around and the first person to raise your hand, you had to call what the object was, but that was missing. And then if you did that 3 times in a row, you won. And I won a Snoopy electric toothbrush.
Really?
I will never forget. It was amazing. I was like, I was the only kid in my neighborhood in an electric toothbrush, and it was a Snoopy electric toothbrush. And then the other time I drew a picture of him, and I got one of those giant 2-foot-long Tootsie Rolls that were banks that were full of Tootsie Rolls. That was my other prize. And then what was really cool is after the show, you got all sorts of crap. They give you like a goodie bag going out. You got ice cream certificates and like Shakey's pizza certificates and all that crap. That was fun.
I remember when I was a kid, there was a show called Melvin the Clown. And he went out the air at his last day. He was telling everybody that was it. It was Captain Somebody and Melvin the Clown. And I was inconsolable. I was crying that my mother had to call the radio, not the radio, but the TV station, and get him on the phone. And here he was, this professional man that was going to like console this child who was me. And he started crying too. It was sad.
That's sad, but that's cool. I mean, that's amazing.
These old hosts, they connected with kids, and you don't have that nowadays. They were your grandfather and your uncle and your brother and your father, and many of them were your babysitters because like mom and dad would shove you in front of the TV because they don't want to mess with you. So,
right. And they took their job very seriously. I mean, the Clarabelle thing. I mean, not speaking and not showing without his makeup and stuff. That was a huge, and he protected that.
The one and only Lone Ranger, Clayton Moore, which there was, the other guy too that I mentioned earlier, which was John Hart. But Clayton Moore was my Lone Ranger, and he never, to the day he died, ever did anything that would have been considered, away from his character, not a hero,
Right, yeah, and it's a shame that type of thing is missing. But it was also kind of more of an innocent time. So, okay, you got your start in terrestrial radio, right?
Well, yeah, in a way, it was weird how I got into it. There was some people that I knew that I was DJing for at the Boys Club in Rockford, Illinois, and they were associated with a station called WLUV. So they had a program. They would send a kid over there every Saturday, and it was called DJ for a Day. Now, I was kind of cheating because I had been doing like DJing for a while. Most of the kids they sent over there couldn't say anything. Like they would stammer and stutter. But they liked me so much, they would have me come back all the time. And then when Elvis Presley passed away, I was a great fan of Elvis and still is to this day. I had approached the station manager with doing a show on Elvis Presley, and that's really how it all started. I wound up being there for like 10 years.
Now, what were you doing just prior to that?
Prior to that, I was a magician. Yeah.
That was your full-time gig or your?
I'm thinking back a long time ago. I'm 54.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was doing. I was a paid magician. I was a member of the Society of American Magicians, which was the same organization that had Orson Welles and Johnny Carson, and was founded by Houdini. And I never wound up getting into the magic cast. I always want to do that. I'm out here now. I probably should check it out. But yeah, I started out doing magic and producing the doves out of the sleeve and the whole 9 yards, and did a show with somebody that was running for president at the time, who was the governor of Illinois. His name was James Thompson, and that was kind of crazy because his Secret Service people had to like look through all my stuff because I was going to do an act with him. They wanted to make sure I wasn't going to kill him or something.
Right.
That kind of spoiled the effect, but yeah, we had fun, and those were my days in doing magic, wearing the tacky leisure suit back in the 70s.
Oh, sure, yeah. Nice white piping and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I did a lot of like MC work too prior to the radio thing, like
So,
Elvis conventions and stuff. But that all got me into the radio thing, and I worked at WLUV for a long time, and then I did some other shows on some other stations called the King Midas Show. It was a cool radio station. It was a radio station that was built in a mall, so people could come and see you. They could look in the window, and it was WYBR, which stood for Yellow Brick Road. It all had a Wizard of Oz theme.
yeah.
You would go in the hallway and walk down this yellow brick road, and you would see life-size statues of the Cowardly Lion and the Woodman and all that. And when you get down at the end, you would see the DJ in the window.
Oh, that's cool. That's neat. Yeah, that's there's a station in Orlando that used to do that too. Yeah, where they just kind of see. I'd be really intimidated sitting there having to look out and watch these people staring at me. I feel kind of goldfish bowl kind of thing. But
Are you like me and you wonder why you ever left Florida?
no, they could chop that place off and let it float in the sea for all I care.
Real estate's really cheap though because of the hurricanes.
Yeah, well, I still, no, I don't need Florida. I'm just fine where I'm at right now. But
That's
no,
we were afraid of the hurricanes, and then we came here with the earthquakes. I guess we're not too smart, are we?
there's no place you could go that's safe from weather. Everybody's got some sort of weather issue, so you're going to be, no matter where you go, you're going to have to endure something. So, all right, well, we're going to go and take a break right now. I got some music. This kind of came together pretty quickly, so I'm not hitting you up for any music. So you kind of got lucky with that. But so I get to pick music for you.
As
But
long as it's not anything like Fergie and I'm a Bee or
damn it, it's all Katy Perry. Hope you
Actually,
don't mind.
no, Tiffany likes Katy Perry.
Yeah, well, exactly. So that's why I'm going to play it for you. All right, I have no idea what's going to be playing next, but we'll play a little bit of music, then we're going to come back. Okay, we're back. I'm Russ, and I'm talking to Terry DuFoe, the creator and major force behind the CRAGG universe. So, Terry, can you remember what prompted you to start CRAGG Live? What was the genesis of it?
Ooh, the Genesis. Now we're talking in biblical terms.
Exactly. It's almost like the Bible.
Yeah, well, like I said in the other segment, starting out as a magician and winding up doing terrestrial radio. And then after that, in the early 90s, we got into, when I say we, I started out by myself, and then I wound up pulling Tiffany into it because I always have to make her do what I do because that way misery loves company. We started doing interviews for national magazines. I started out writing for Orbit magazine, which really was a TV guide for satellite guide people. Remember the old big 10-foot dishes you used to have in your yard before they turned it all off?
Heck yeah.
There were guides for those. Then we started writing into genre magazines like Film Facts, Outre, and all that. So I figured, with writing for magazines like Outre and Film Facts and magazines like that, it was really getting into what I love, because when I was writing for the satellite guides, I was basically covering TV shows. But when I started doing this cult movie stuff for like Film Facts and Videoscope and everything, I was like, wow, this is fun. And what if this became a radio show? Could you do like an audio version of this? And then on Live 365, I heard a show that was being done, and I credit him with this, that really kind of started cult radio, being done by Fred Olen Ray. He had a show called Retro Media Radio, named after his DVD company. And he would play things like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane by Betty Davis and stuff like that. So really, it was a conglomeration of what we do for the magazine, kind of influenced by Fred Olen Ray and his show, only in a longer format.
Right. And okay, so you had it in your head the way you wanted to do it. If we took a snapshot of today's show, for example, How close is it to the way it was that you pictured in your head back then?
It's finally exactly where it should be. Because when we started out on Live 365. And what we did on Live 365 is what we're doing now. The only thing that was different is on Live 365, we would do theme shows. We would do like something on the beach party films for like 8 hours, like an 8 hour block. And on 365, you're doing what is basically a loop. You record like 8 hours worth of stuff and it ends and it repeats.
Mm-hmm.
We would have mostly theme shows, which was like a whole lot of work. And as you got older, it's like, that's too much. But we started out on Shoutcast because we wanted more freedom, because there were censorship issues over there, and there were issues with you could only play a certain artist so many times, you only play so many songs from an album. There was just way too many rules, and then people had to sign up to actually listen, and there was people, if you had enemies that could vote you down, there was just too much politics there. So we just wanted to be free and be independent, which is really what we're doing. We're doing stuff on independent films. Why not be independent, be free? So we came over to Shoutcast, which is where we are now, where we've always been. Because we were on 365 for 5 years, and we wound up being on Shoutcast for 5 years, and decided to start over here, but start doing it as a live show.
Right.
And that's when we started really doing what we do now. And the thing is when we started out, we started doing something with horror hosts. I got this idea that horror hosts could be good on radio. Bad idea, but I thought.
Yeah.
So we did something called the Horror Host Radio Network. And the problem with that is I started attracting all these horror convention people. And while horror is great and while I love horror, there's a lot more to the world than just horror. You don't want like just ketchup on a hamburger. You don't just want a hamburger. You might want a ham sandwich once in a while. I really don't think there's anybody out there that likes just one kind of movie. But a lot of these horror people, they're really into it, or I don't know, maybe they just don't want to admit they like other films. But I felt stifled, and I had to bring myself back to where I was, and that is to do what we did in the beginning of Live 365, which is what we're doing now. And we're happy. We're where we always wanted to be, and that is not just horror, but also comedy, cult TV, cult radio. When you're just doing horror, you can't do Lost in Space, and you want to do Lost in Space once in a while. It's just a conglomeration of everything. So I really think that we really are back on track.
Yeah, and you're right. You do have to change it up. Like tonight, you had Joanne Worley, but I mean, you'll have musicians or horror actors, or you've got a whole big mix, and I just think it'd be stagnant if you had the same one genre over and over again. It would just get old and stale, and so I can see why you'd want to mix that up.
Well, you know what they're doing. I made a joke a couple shows, say, if you're all horror, you can only have George Romero on 150 times and then it's done. It's not like I don't love George. It's just when you say I'm going to do just horror, you paint yourself in a corner. And like once you're done with the subject, all you're doing is being redundant, and you're doing it over and over again. And when you do all of pop culture, all of B movies, all of drive-in films, of which covered many different genres, that way there's so much more to keep it fresh. And then what do you do, like, for instance, if you get a movie like Hillbillies in a Haunted House? It's a horror film. No, it's a comedy. No, it's a musical. Where does it really classify itself? We don't worry about that because we do all of that. But there's some people that just does horror that wouldn't necessarily do Hillbillies in a Haunted House because it might be comedy or something.
Right. And there's just, yeah, again, you can pigeonhole, and you're going to be a flat, boring individual if horror is the only thing you like, or some other genre. You're right. You're a big, broad spectrum. That's, that's really what attracted me to CRAGG to begin with. So, okay. Now you work with your daughter, Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
She's your co-host on the show, and she does a lot of the work on it as well. How much of you do you see in her sensibilities?
She's probably, what do you mean, like, does she act like me, or?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's times where you look at her and go, God, she just got that from me. But I mean, how much? She's your own person, but how much of her do you see in what attracts you to this type of what you put on the CRAGG?
I feel that she's like a little mini me of me, and the fact that you can say something about people that are like, oh well, pop culture is boring, or God, that old show, was old cruddy duddy or whatever. But she has such a great education in TV and movies and pop culture, where she can just sit down with anybody and amaze them. She's like just a literal, walking encyclopedia.
Oh yeah, and when you talk to her, you don't get the 27. You don't. It's. She has all these references to, I mean, Mae West and Laurel Hardy stuff, and I'm just like, God, man. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm not. I wasn't around when Laurel Hardy was coming out, and I've got those influences, and and it was enough for me to have that. But her being as young as she is, and she's just deep with all that stuff. That's why I was kind of curious how much she must surprise you sometimes when you turn around and you see her coming up with these really awkward, obscure kind of references.
Started out with me being a teacher, and then all of a sudden now she's a teacher and she's teaching me, because she really catches on to this stuff and embraced it. I mean, I knew that there was something special about her, that she was going to really see things for what it is, like look at the depth of something, because we would start out by taking her to like some Rocky Horror Picture Shows, and when the cast is up there and they're doing their thing, she was greatly amused by that at first. And then she realized that they were making fun of Charles Gray, who had just passed away. And then she would get ticked off about that. She's like, you need to respect these actors. So she has a great respect for the people from long ago. And that's what's cool about it. And I think that's why she is not a drug addict and not an alcoholic and not a teenage prostitute. And, everybody thinks all the people that like what we like are crazy, but they're some of the smarter, most down-to-earth people you ever meet.
Yeah, yeah. No, she's definitely grounded, and she definitely has those sensibilities, and that comes from very good parenting, Terry.
Well, let me ask you, and I don't want to get into your personal life, but does your daughter like what you like?
Absolutely not.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, and I've tried. My son is a little closer to kind of geekiness that I have for that kind of thing. We'll find some common ground in certain things. He's like a manga guy and stuff, and I just can't get into it. But when I was his age, I would watch Speed Racer or the Spider-Man cartoons or Banana Splits, or as I got older, I would watch Justice League and stuff. So that was my version of that at his time. So we got the same kind of head about that kind of stuff. My daughter has absolutely no interest in that. She loves poppy music and that kind of thing, but as far as retro stuff or anything else, no, she it bores her. She really doesn't care.
20 years from now, when you're old, she's gonna be.
I'm old now.
Well, she's gonna be seeing some of those old movies. She's gonna be like, "Dad, why didn't you tell me about this?"
And I tried. I just like I did with my son. I tried, and we'll find cool stuff, and we'll watch it and kind of laugh and stuff. Like the Death Race movie, the remake. It came out and it was cool, and I liked it, and he liked it. We went and saw the car and stuff. They would toured around and stuff. I was like, okay, well, you like this, you got to see where that came from. So I showed him the original Death Race, and he thought it was campy and funny and stuff like that. So I gotta kind of have to kind of take a back door to stuff like that sometimes. It isn't. I think you had it a lot easier than I did. It because I mean, my God, your daughter her first crush is Davy Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's you had it pretty easy, because I there's no way I could have passed that off on my daughter.
Well, can you remember, even when we were kids, at least I know I did, even though that I like the classic Universal monster movies, when I finally saw Christopher Lee and I finally saw he had fangs, I would say to myself, who can be scared of Bela Lugosi? So we kind of thought they were kind of corny too, even though we loved them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But now, see, the very first horror movie I remember seeing was, and I don't remember seeing the whole movie, but I remember the ending, was X, the Man with X-Ray Eyes.
Mm.
He's walking in the desert, and then he comes into that tent, the church revival tent in the middle of the desert, and the priest or the preacher tells him, if thine eye offends thee, pluck it out. And then he looks up and his eyes are missing. I screamed. I was screaming out loud.
You're talking about the one with Ray Milland,
Yeah,
right?
Ray Milland, and I was
And
what?
the movie that proved that Don Rickles could act.
Yeah, well, that's true too. He was pretty good in that. But it was on TV, and I was what, 9, 10, maybe. And that and but that, at the same time, I got the titillation. I got scared. I thought it was cool, all that stuff, and that's the thing that just kind of just opened the floodgates. I wanted to eat that shit up. It just
The
was.
that I first saw it scared me. I don't know. Maybe we're getting off on a rant here. I think I've got the name of this right. Hopefully, I do. That old movie, The Thing That Couldn't Die, where they hold the guy's head up to the window.
Oh yeah.
To this day, I cannot look out a window if it's dark outside. You'll see that if you come and visit. And
What? So if I pop ahead, you're gonna be freaked out?
I always, every time I look out a window, I always think there's going to be somebody looking back at me. And if it's you, I'll especially be scared. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, I have a voice for radio, right? Or a face for radio.
No.
Yeah, that's yeah. Thanks a lot, Terry. All right, so let's see. All right, we're gonna play a little bit more music. I have no idea what I'm gonna be playing, but by the time this is all edited together, it's gonna make sense somehow. So, you're listening to KSR on the Cult Radio Snack Bar. Stay tuned. Okay, back from another break. I'm talking to Terry DuFoe. I wanted to remind everybody that Cult Radio is a totally self-financed operation, but it does rely on the occasional outside contribution. Terry, how would a listener be able to help you out? Is there is there one or two best ways of doing that?
Well, I kind of say this humbly because, I'm from the old school of trying to do what you can and not asking for people for money. And it was many of my listeners that had the idea to say that people would be willing to help out, and knowing that we don't make a doggone dime off of this. It is all self-financed. But we do it the old-fashioned way, I guess the way everybody does it, and that's to go to cultradioagogo.com, cultradioagogo.com, and at the very top there's your average PayPal button, and whatever you want to give. I'm not like these evangelists. It's like, yeah, you got to get $25 now, send you a commemorative button or something. No, just if you have $1, we appreciate it, and it helps us to carry on, because it is not cheap to do what we do. And I'm not like other internet radio stations who get up there and they try to say, oh, it's like $20,000 a month to do this. I'm not going to say it's that, but it does take out of our pocket, especially in this time, that everybody's going through with the crisis, with the economy, with my daughter being out of a job and everything. But we still do everything we can do to bring it to you. And we have an occasional auction once in a while, which was another one of our listeners' idea. And it's went pretty good.
Yeah, you're about due for one soon, so. But yeah, no, it's any way you can help, because, and you're right. I mean, it may not be a huge amount of expense, but you have to maintain websites, and you have to maintain, you're powering everything, and you have to maintain computers and recording equipment and all those other things. You have things that break. I mean, it's just.
You kidding me? We went through, God, we've been on the air for 10 years, 5 years at Live 365 and 5 years on Shoutcast Live. And we must have went through like 5 different computers and probably 5 different hard drives, and you just go through equipment a lot, and stuff's not cheap. And then we also get very nice listeners that contribute equipment once in a while too. That's another way you can help too, is contribute equipment or whatever. But yeah, I usually very humbly remind people they can donate. I still get embarrassed about asking. I used to hate internet radio people that would ask for money, and now that I'm doing it, I realize sometimes it's necessary, because it kind of like stretches, more means than you have, because when you go into this thing whole hog, and we're in a good area, and the fact that we live, not too far, a shooting distance from Los Angeles, and we're using Skype to cut down our costs, but there's definite costs. There's hosting costs, and of course we have to have the best internet we can get, which is your cable internet, which is not cheap. Wish we had a T1 line. That's what I'm hoping to get someday. Maybe.
Oh, there you go. Are they laying fiber out in your area?
Yeah. But it's a matter of being able to afford it.
Right,
Business
that's true.
T1 line is really a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I'm very aware of that. So, okay, well, yeah, just make sure that you go on and call Radio Go-Go. If you like what they do, they pass a hat every once in a while, just chip in a few bucks. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, you've done a ton of interviews. You just got done saying that you've done 10 years worth of work. So pick out a couple of your most memorable interviews that you've done.
Well, maybe we can narrow it down from TV and movies. I think probably as far as TV, Damon Wilson from Sanford & Son.
And why was that?
Because he was so open. to where he was honest. He was honest about the way things were back then. That really Sanford and Son was written by white people who really didn't know anything about black people, white people and Jewish people. And he wasn't afraid to criticize them or to say it the way it was. He's honest. He was just so much like Red Fox. He paid homage to Red Fox too. I mean, he really knew where he came from, and he was proud. And he really is a smart, very honest man. And another part of that interview that I enjoyed a lot is we were talking about the show What's Happening, and I brought up the young gentleman that played Raj, and he was very critical of the show back then because he was saying that Sanford and Son didn't really show the true black experience. Well, even though Damon was right in saying that it was written by white people and Jewish people, that he felt that was kind of like slapping him in the face. So it got really funny at that point. And you got to be careful when you get into controversy, because it's very true what Oprah Winfrey says, because you want to make it edgy and you want to make it entertaining. But if you piss them off, you'll either get something that's entertaining or you'll totally lose the interview. And then he became very entertaining at that point. So that's why it was fun for me.
And that's a tough line to find. And that's listening to your interviews. I mean, you and Tiffany both have that way about you that makes an interview interesting to listen to, and it's got to be interesting for the guest, because more times than not, you're getting a comment at the end that they thought it was a great interview and they really enjoyed doing it, and it's not usually typical Hollywood bullshit. It seems like they really are interested in you because you're coming from a different area. You're asking different and interesting questions. You also have a chat room that you run live during the show, and you're getting a little bit of feedback from that. But most of it is going to be attributed to your prep work and Tiffany's prep work. And that comes across, and it makes it a very entertaining, very listenable way to hear about some of these people that you normally would get boring, plain, bland sound bites out of.
Well, I hate sound bites. Good God, we were at like a red carpet thing, and there was like E! Entertainment, all these preppy mainstream people, and they didn't even know like who some of these actors were. These old guys, they didn't know who the guy from Back to the Future was, Chris, and we had to tell them, and they had no knowledge of who these people are. We only interview people that we know and respect, and only put people on that we want, so that really helps. But my main thing is to not interview them. It's to have a conversation with them. I want it to be like they're in my living room, and they're your friend, and you're just like shooting the shit. And that's the way it should be. I don't like being stiff. I like being relaxed. They seem to enjoy that. The thing that amuses me is the thing that these celebrities seem to enjoy more is when they find out they can swear.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that'd be that'd be a little shocking for them. I'm sure
they're so used to being stiff, and then they can be relaxed in cult radio. That's what it's all about. It's just we're all relaxed here and having fun.
Yeah, and like I said, it does come across, so it's great to hear. Okay,
you want me to answer the other question real quick? I know we run out of time, but
sure.
Favorite movie star which was never been on cult radio yet, was for the magazine. That was Bruce Dern. And the reason why is because we realized we were both from Illinois, so we started reminiscing about back in Illinois, so that turned out good.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's nice when you can find a common thread. That kind of puts them on your side a little bit, I'm sure. Okay, you do a bunch of stuff. I mean, you're a writer, and you are an interviewer, and you program a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week radio station, and now you're also directing kind of these, not quite features, but like mini features for Lou Volkel and his company. If you had to pick one of those things that you could do and only do that, what would be the thing that you'd pick?
I always have to do cult radio because that's me. Cult radio is me, and I'm cult radio. Cult radio is where I can do what I want to do and not be told what to do. I don't really get told what to do by Lou, but cult radio is more me than what is me working for Lou. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
The situation with call radios, everybody's always saying, well, why don't you try to get it on XM radio or Sirius or something? Well, we probably could. They've had worse things on, but I wouldn't be me anymore. They'd be telling us what to do, But with Lou, I like working with him because he's great. He doesn't really, heavy hand me. But even there, when I work for Lou, I do it like I'd be working at call radio. And that is relaxed and loose and having fun. It's all about having fun. If you're not having fun, then it's a job and it sucks. You know.
Yeah, you're right. I understand. That's yeah, yeah.
So what would I rather do if I had to do one? I suppose it'd probably be call radio because I never not do call radio. But it's also kind of nice to see all these lovely ladies in their birthday suits and attire too. So it's kind of nice doing that.
There are absolutely worse things that you could do.
You could be at a strip club and sit there for 8 hours and see a bunch of ugly women, or you can see the nice looking one that you picked for 8 hours and
That you hired.
that I hired, and she has to do all these things I tell her to do, like naked twister.
Oh, that's right. Your newest one had Naked Twister, right?
It certainly did. Now, once again, I'm bringing retro back to what they refer to as well, nudie cues were always retro, but I'm bringing in I won't say product placement because they're not sponsoring us, but I'm bringing in all the pop culture stuff. When I do my things for Lou, it's going to be very cult radio. You're going to say that was done by cult radio because it's going to have all these references. In the first one with Kylie, we did a takeoff on Mamie Van Doren. So we want to do stuff like that. We want even that to be pop culture.
Yeah. Well, that's a great view to come from because that stuff is. I think that stuff is timeless, and I don't think there's enough of that stuff. Same old cookie cutter, naked woman rolling around on a bed for an hour. That's
even though you call them shorts, they're still 90 minutes long. It's the same size, really, as a feature, and like. After about 60 minutes of a woman as attractive as she is sitting there jiggling, I mean, you got to have something to spice it up. You got to have something that's fun, and you'd be surprised. You subject these girls to something like Naked Twister or a girl who really admired Mamie Van Doren, which is Kylie Nash, to be able to emulate her and emulate somebody like a Marilyn Monroe or whatever. It's fun for them, and it brings out their best in them.
Right, and like we said about the interview, it's the same kind of thing. Give them something different to do. Let them have a little bit of fun with it, and they're going to work that much harder for you.
And contrary to popular belief, I'm very professional on set. Lou always taught me, first and foremost, do not touch the actresses, so I'm a gentleman.
That was an issue before?
No, I guess I have a reputation that precedes me. I don't know. He was really worried about that when he hired me. He just gave me this big speech about not touching the actresses because he didn't want to be sued. Why he would think I would ever do that, I don't know.
Because he knows you. That's probably why. Okay, so let's see. We got one more quick break, and again, I'm still not sure what music is going to be here, but it's going to be something that you're going to want to listen to because you're going to want to come back. You're going to want to listen to the end of the interview, so stick around. Okay, it's Terry DuFoe and I. We're just sitting here talking, and now I gave Tiffany a chance to reveal a little dark secret about you when I did her interview. So I'm going to give you that exact same opportunity right now. What little secret about your daughter, Tiffany, can you tell us about? Something that we're not going to already know.
Well, like I told you earlier, it's hard because everybody knows everything about us because the radio show is kind of like a reality show. But I guess there's probably... Well, I don't know if I've talked about this or not, but I'll just go ahead with it anyway. She sleeps on the couch, and I'm sleeping on the couch across from her. She has a bed. I don't even know why she doesn't sleep on a bed, but she doesn't. She's got her bed filled with shit. Like, it is just piled to the ceiling with shit. So she sleeps on the couch, and she, like, sleep talks or whatever, and she's always thinking she's at Walmart. And she'll sit straight up. Now, we have a banister, and I have to hold her down to keep her from jumping over the banister. She wants to run out to another department and buy stuff at Walmart.
She's Walmart obsessed, huh? Even in her sleep.
She's pretty much like somebody with Alzheimer's that don't know where they are, but not really.
Why Walmart? You would think in your dreams you could think of, Neiman Marcus or something.
Happened this morning. She started doing it, and it's really weird because you don't know whether to wake up a sleepwalker. It's not really sleepwalking. She just lays there and does it, but you don't know whether to wake him up or not. But you got to be careful because when you do it, she will argue with you. She will be asleep for like 5 minutes, arguing with you, telling you she's not asleep. Yes, she thinks she's at Walmart. And you got to talk really fast and really rapid to hold her down because you're afraid she's going to kill herself jumping over the banister or something. But yeah, she's dangerous.
Oh, that's good to know. So she talks and she sleeps. Oh, that's amazing.
And the other thing that you will find out if you get to come out here and visit, and that is everybody thinks that she's Shirley Temple, but when she gets mad, she becomes Betty Davis.
Now, see, I was thinking it was going to be the other way around. I just automatically assumed she was Betty Davis, and that occasionally you get glimpses of Shirley Temple.
Yeah. Well, no, it's more Betty and less Shirley. Sweet girl, but she has that. I guess she probably got that from me. I don't know. She has that attitude. I think she probably would want to be black if she came back in another life. Because
Really?
she has that whole sister, like if she gets mad, her head starts doing the chicken thing. Like black girls do, when they like, the head starts going,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 Well, she's got that thing for Pam Grier. That's one of her big idols. So
That's right. And that's why she just had an emotional moment after she talked to Pam Grier.
yeah,
Sister.
sister. Oh, that's
Yeah.
sister under the skin. That's awesome. That's funny. So, well, I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate you spending some time on today's show. Uh, like I said, you've got done with your 4-hour show, so you've got to be beat, I'm sure, and you eat dinner about now. So I'm taking you from your dinner. So I really feel uh, bad about that. But I want to thank you for letting me have a little spot on your station with my goofy little show. So it's fun. I'm glad you convinced me to do this, and I love doing it, and I appreciate the opportunity. So thank you very much.
Well, that's
Um,
fine, even though you shattered any chance of me having a future because you told me that Captain Crunch is no longer going to be made. But other,
well, now see, now they Quaker Oats has set up a site. They've set up a website that says that Captain Crunch is here. He's not going to be going anywhere. They're just not going to be pushing the advertising like they used to. So.
so they're just afraid of all the parents who wants to like get rid of the Happy Meals at McDonald's.
Oh, as long as they're making money on it, they're going to always have it there. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's good because I need my fix.
Captain Crunch and Dr. Pepper. Do you eat a vegetable?
Well, actually, I like spinach and corn. I don't eat broccoli, forget it. But yeah, I do eat vegetables.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I've gotten hooked on hummus because ever since Karen DuFoe and Mariah Carey come down, they like forced me to eat it. Now I'm like addicted to it.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. It's Indian. It's like the ground up bean. It's
Yeah,
like curdy kind of. Yeah. No,
it's real.
that's good. Yeah, that's good. Now, do you like those shows when you have people in your? It's got to be on one hand because I mean, and you're will probably readily admit this that you're kind of you want to be the controlling kind of person in like an interview and that type of thing. So just having you do this is, I'm sure, kind of out of your comfort zone. But
It
do you like having people in your area, like in your house?
is that obvious? Well, first of all, I'm like a really private person, and everybody doesn't even think I'm shy, but I am, seriously. And I'm more brave on the radio than I am in person. And when I have people here, I'm like, I have to talk to their face. Because when we're on the phone or on Skype, I don't have to see them. And when I'm seeing them, when they're here, all of a sudden I've got to talk to a pretty girl sitting next to me. And I go back to the idiot Terry DuFoe that could never talk to girls. And it's hard because I'm on the air live, and all of a sudden I got to talk to this beautiful girl like a Karen DuFoe or something that's next to me. And I try to fight to not be the stumbling idiot that can never get a date and be the guy who's supposed to be cool on the air because I have a reputation to uphold. But yeah, it is hard, and I enjoy it for the most part, except I get way more nervous when people's here, and it's that whole thing of it's hard for me to talk to somebody's face. Although I don't like the phone. See, that's crazy too. I will not get on the phone with somebody, but doing this thing on the Skype thing is different. I don't know why, it's weird. But
Yeah.
the only thing I don't like when people are here is it often gets very random and you do lose control. You try to keep control, but when like everybody's here and everybody's talking at once, sometimes it gets very random. And I hear everybody say they love those shows, but then I sit back all the time and I'm always saying, God, was that professional enough? And I start getting all anal with myself because I'm like my worst critic.
Well, that's okay. That just means you're going to do better. If you're toughest on yourself, then yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But all right, so when I'm there, I'm not going to say a single word. Is that better? Will that make you feel better?
I don't know. We'll see when you get here. I'll feel better if you become basically a perverted person like me.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll
You're
have a ways to go.
You're too vanilla, Rustbucket. We have to turn you to the dark side. Now, we've already turned Elena to the dark side. We're still working on you.
Okay. Well, Elena was turned to the dark side?
She's starting to call people assholes and fuckers now.
Oh, I heard her show today. Yeah, she went to town.
She would never do that before. You know, it's weird. It's cult radio does something to people. When celebrities come on here, they swear like a truck driver. All of my hosts that I get, they're all pretty much like you in the fact that they're very vanilla and they were all kind of pacifists. But then the more they're with us, the more they get like us. You know what they say when they say if you get a dog, the dog and the owner starts to look alike?
Yeah.
By the time we're done with you.
Thank you.
Yes. You will not be
for.
accepted in social society anymore.
Well, yeah. No. And kind of going off on a tangent a little bit, but yeah, I kind of went out of my way to kind of keep my show like PG, and then I started dropping the King Mike V promos in and occasional language. And I don't know if you heard today's show. I did a dedication show on everybody, and I dedicated the last song to you.
Oh, okay. I'll have to catch that. I usually hear them after the fact, after everybody else hears them.
Well, it's the very last song, and it's a flexi disc by Candy Samples.
I had that. You got it in a magazine. I had some of those magazines.
Well, it's a digital copy of it, and it's 4 minutes of audio porn. So I figured that'd be the perfect song to dedicate to you. And so the PG rating went out the window, but I felt like I had to warn everybody beforehand. So yeah, I have a tendency to kind of self-censor, but
well, with your show, it kind of works. So with the kind of show you do, you're more like I look at you as the NPR kind of show host. Yes.
And now today on
yeah.
I think I have a ways to go before I hit NPR kind of level, but. But I appreciate the talk. This has been great. I really enjoy it. It's nice to kind of hear you kind of away from, well, like I said, away from your comfort zone. But
my comfort zone is a brothel, but I can't be there all the time, so I'm pretty much uncomfortable 24/7.
You could run one.
Yeah, okay. You're going to help me invest on that one, right?
Well, okay. Or maybe you can do remotes. Just tour Nevada and do a remote from a different one every week.
That would be good. Actually, we were invited by Dennis Hoff to do that, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, all right, you can catch CRAGG live every Saturday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and all the info is there on cultradiogogo.com, along with, and by the way, not your newest endeavor, but the newly revived one, CTAG. You've let me help program that, and it's been fun to do, and I hope it kind of reflects what you explained to me you wanted. You wanted basically a video version of the radio station. You can find all that stuff on cultradiogogo.com. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of mention or plug or push or say or yell at me or whatever?
Well, no, I think you're doing a fine job on CTAG, and basically, when I wanted you to do this, I want everybody to know that I just wanted to be like a Yoda, just give you a basic idea, but it's all your input, and you've done a really good job in understanding what we do, and you've done a good job, and everybody needs to I don't think a lot of people realize that the radio station's on 24/7. They're like, Saturday's great, but we're also on 24/7 during the week, and you can hear those host shows during the week on Random Play, because during the week it's like the reruns of those shows you hear live on Saturdays.
Right, yeah, and you don't know what you're gonna catch, which is cool, because you'll catch a Tarzan old time radio show 1 minute, and then you'll catch one of the live shows the next, and some great music, and it's the 24/7. It's entertaining. You have so many files, you don't catch a lot of repeats, which is really something.
And you'll hear Christmas songs at any given time. You don't know what you're going to... We even have a soundtrack album to Deep Throat. Did you know there was dialogue? Yes, there was.
Well, see, now I have to listen for that.
Right. You never going to hear. And if you're not listening to Cult Radio, you need to watch Cult TV, because it's really... You've got your finger on the pulse of everything that is Cult Radio.
Well, there you go. So if you need the visuals, go to the CTAG the CTAG, and if you need the radio part, or turn them on both. Just switch them back and forth.
Our guarantee to you is there's nothing on Cult TV that'll be ever interrupted by corny host.
Well, any corny hosts after 1965, how's that?
Right, and they're always going to be like hopefully the beginning and the end. They might be in the middle, but I don't like to like edit stuff too much. I like it to be like you would see it at a drive-in.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, nice random stuff. That's fun. Anyway, Terry, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Right. Thank you.